that just put me in a good mood. But this doesn't. President Obama and his advisors frequently like to remind us that he ended the wars in Iraq and in Afghanistan.
I would point out we had 180,000 troops in Iraq and Afghanistan when the president took office, and there are 15,000 there now. So history is hard to judge in the moment. I think history will record that he did bring those troops home.
But is that legacy really something to tout with ISIS and other terror networks retaking control of parts of the region? Even the president's allies on the left and in the media are questioning his foreign policy strategy and his commitment to defeating ISIS.
We have another American hostage killed. And Congress and the president goes off to California to do a fundraiser and some other stuff, and the Congress goes on vacation, and they say, yeah, we'll debate what to do about all this, but we're going to do it as long as it fits into the schedule.
You have said publicly that the U.S. should have armed those moderate rebels in Syria a couple of years ago. Do you think that would have made a difference at this point in this fight against ISIS?
There's no question in my mind that some mistakes were made here.
There's never been a time when there are more threats to the United States than there is now. So, as I said once before, we're either going to fight them there or we're going to fight them here.
So that's the decision as it presents itself, and that was Senator Diane Feinstein. Do we fight him there? I think we have to fight him on both fronts, to be quite honest, especially what we've been seeing with Copenhagen and terror attacks abroad. They're bringing the fight to the shores, just like you said, Eric, with the blood spilling in the Mediterranean Sea. They want us to feel that ISIS is everywhere.
Pointing to Europe, they're on the march. That's their next conquest. They're going to take Europe, and then they talk about getting the White House too, taking out the president's family. So, look, they have eyes on the prize. They want to continue to expand. I find it very interesting that you hear CBS now saying, well, maybe the president shouldn't have golf this weekend or fundraised. You have Diane Feinstein, who's become very strong on fighting ISIS. It just proves, there's more proof no one really knows exactly what to do with them. We do have 250,000 Kurdish fighters in the area. We do have 200,000 or so Iraqi fighters in the area.
But why have we been so slow to help arm the Kurds properly when they have had multiple requests?
That has always been a recommendation, absolutely, from this table. There's been no one that's disagreed with arming the Kurds to the fullest extent. The question is, do you put American boots on the ground, or do you want Arab boots on the ground fighting ISIS? And one of the other questions has been, I guess it was Axelrod who may have, one of those sound bites pointed out, should we have armed the rebels in Syria? And we know some of those rebels splintered off into ISIS. So the question is, it gets really dicey in the Middle East. I don't know. Again, I think you continue to bombard them from the air, Americans, and then let the Arabs fight them.
You know, you said that was a fundamental question. I think that is. But let me ask you how you win this. In other world wars we've had, we've won them by taking bombs. Or to go back and look at the place we've been in, we've taken a place that was symbolically or, in fact, the head of the capital of that country. We don't have that. What are we going to do, take over Mecca? Where do you stop and say, okay.
Raqqa. That's their headquarters.
Just Raqqa?
Well, you said it's a good start.
I'm just asking, how do you declare victory? Let's say you put all the boots on the ground and you get your hands on them. How do you declare victory?
I don't think there is ever. Can you? It's a war on terror.
Well, but this is part of the problem, Dana, that I want to talk. Well, first of all, let's talk about this. Pull this full screen up, and I want to tie it in for her. Fox News poll on ISIS strategy. Does the president, in fact, have a strategy, the administration, for defeating Islamic extremist group ISIS? Yes or no? 73% in this poll say no. 19% say yes. Dana, what is the strategy, and how does he communicate it to a point where he can coalition build? Because I think the time is now.
I would imagine that the White House would say, we have told you over and over again what our strategy is. And
Degrade, destroy?
The thing, I pay pretty close attention to this. I actually don't understand the strategy. They need to figure out some way to crystallize it for us to say, this is what we're trying to do. Because it seems like every week there's another little nugget that comes forward. However, I am for all of these other countries getting involved if they want to. But let me just give you an example.
Yeah.
The entire military, all branches of the Emirates, the United Arab Emirates military, is 60,000 people. The entire military in Saudi Arabia is 100,000 people and probably not very sophisticated. Jordan has about the same, 60,000. That's for all the things that the military is supposed to do for those countries. Right. And if we lead from behind and let them take the lead, that presents consequences that we might just be opening up, sorry, Greg, a Pandora's box of problems in the Middle East, because I think America is stronger when we are leading the world, and that the world is a better place for it. I'm for these people helping, but we cannot let them do it on their own. They don't have the capacity or the capability to do it, and it is a pipe dream to think that they do.
Right. Well, it's actually a recipe for failure if we don't take the lead on it, because as you said, the rest of our allies that are trying to do their best, they have limited resources. So how is it that we can expect them? No, Bob, in terms of a concerted effort put forward with a strategy, with somebody, with a leader at the beginning of this, at the helm, taking the wheel, versus America in the little basket on the side of the bike. You know,
that's grossly unfair. That is grossly unfair.
No, but it is. It has to. No, Bob, it's a matter of them being focused and saying, this is what we're doing. Stop looking for everyone else to clean up the mess.
You say you add these numbers together. We didn't include Egypt, which is out in the fight. They've got a much bigger military. And I want to know what you're talking about. We have United States pilots who are bombing over there. We've spent the last decade.
I'm all for everybody having skin in the game.
Many dead.
And it's totally squandered by President Obama.
Yeah, squandered, because he just was so reluctant.
Why are we fighting ISIS now, Bob? Did ISIS just is instant water? Instant ISIS?
I think we are fighting ISIS.
No, because we took our eye off the ball.
Why does ISIS
status of forces agreement?
How did that allow? How did they be allowed to get so much territory and to recruit so many people and to operate with absolute abandon?
There has been ISIS has been around in whatever name you want to call it for a very long time. And do I think they took advantage of the politics? Yes, I think they did. But these people are determined to be successful. And I want to know where it is that we put together a coalition willing to fight every extreme radical that is a Muslim. And I don't see it yet. And you say they've done everything they could, put the best foot forward. I haven't seen, England hasn't done as much as it usually does. Canada, Australia.
Have we done as much as we can do, Bob? That's what you should be focused on.
I think,
this isn't the United Nations here.
I think the answer to that is we're doing absent ground soldiers on the ground. I think we're doing what we can do.
We're not, and you know that's not a truthful statement, Greg.
The underlying philosophy here is that President Obama is bummed. Radical Islam is the flat tire to the go-kart that was supposed to take him to this wonderful road of fundamental change. He wasn't interested in the world at large. He was interested in changing the United States to suit his progressive needs, and somehow evil got in the way. He's guilty of what I would call ocean privilege. He felt he didn't have to worry about what was going on out there because somehow the United States was impervious to these invading hordes. It's an incredibly selfish attitude. It's not that he doesn't think terror is a big deal. It's just not the biggest deal to him. When you have so many other things like gender and race and global warming, the apocalyptic threat to our freedoms by radical Islamic hordes just doesn't rate. And so he'd rather sit it out like a bad storm. He's like sitting in a diner waiting for this storm to pass so he can get back on the road. It's not going to pass, and he's got to face it.
That's true, because evil and ISIS is Obama's buzzkill.
You got to kill it then.
With global warming and everything else. We're just getting started. Coming up, Jeb Bush clears a major hurdle if he decides to run in 2016. His mom. What former First Lady Barbara Bush has to say now about another family member trying for the White House. Plus,